George Alexander Muthoot, the MD at Muthoot Finance, joining us. And Mr. Muthoot, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Let's get to your earnings. Let's talk about some financials. The company has shown good growth in FY25, but the loan growth guidance for FY26 is just 15%. Help us understand if this is you being conservative, or are you expecting demand to be subdued, or is it on the back of increasing competition that might be impacting growth? What's the reason why you've guided only for a 15% number going ahead?
Thank you. Good morning. Yeah, we had a great year last year. We grew, our loan assets grew by about around 40%. So people are asking why we are given only a guidance of 15%. I think for the last 10 years, we have always been giving a guidance of 15% at the start of the year. It is just that, nothing more to it. No, not that we are seeing any hurdles on the way, not we are seeing anything coming in the way, but certainly it is just a number that we give at the beginning of the year. Probably after Q2, etc., as usual, we will be revising that number also. So it is just that number that it is 15%, not that we are seeing higher competitions, etc. The market is growing, competition is always there, and also no other setbacks we see in the coming days.
Vishal also joining in the conversation. Let me just go back to your con call. Firstly, congratulations. It's great set of numbers coming in for the quarter gone by. We saw the stock reaction as well. But let's talk about your con call, because you mentioned that there's been a significant drop in the borrowing cost this after March especially. So there should be some improvement in spreads from Q1 FY26 onwards, the quarter that we are in. And if possible, if you could quantify by how much has the borrowing cost come down after Q4, and how much of improvement should we expect, at least in the new financial year?
So, okay, thank you. And of course, borrowing cost and rates are coming down. But as of now, banks have not been really passing it on, because the MCLR has not been revised by the bank. So all the banks have only just not started passing on that benefit to us. So we don't have seen any significant borrowing decline in the borrowing costs. Probably in the next quarter, we would see the banks reducing the MCLR and then passing it on to borrowers like NBFCs like us. But even if the rate comes down, we generally pass it on to the customer, because when our cost of borrowing comes down, we reduce our yield also. That is what we have been doing, so that we maintain our spread and our NIM. So we continue to maintain our spread at about 9% and NIM about 11% is what we have been doing for the last several quarters. And if the borrowing cost comes down, we will reduce our yield. And if the borrowing cost goes up, we increase our yield, but maintain the margin and the spread.
So that outlook coming in, let's also talk about your branch expansion plan. The company has approved to open 115 more branches for the standalone parent entity. Help us understand how many of this will the company open in FY26, and also by when is the RBI nod expected for the new branches under Muthoot Money going forward?
Yeah, I think we have got a permission for 116 branches. It will take another 4 months or 5 months for us to open the branches. Not a big issue, big item at all. So the branch opening will happen probably end of this quarter or next quarter. So that's the usual practice which we do. And having talked about Muthoot Money, which is about 900 plus branches, the branches are all probably 1 year, 2 year old only. And in the next 2-3 years, they should also go up in business. So today they're having an average business of about 4 crores. I'm sure it will go up substantially in the next 2 years.
Right. Let's talk about the gold prices, Mr. Muthoot, given the fact that, yes, that's one of the big topics. Everyone actually still tends to actually look at gold prices and then talk about gold loan financiers, isn't it? But if you look at the gold prices of late, they are actually down in over 8% from a lot of us would be happy on the other side. But how much are you expecting the reduction in the prices could go ahead, could actually come, could we see going ahead for gold prices? And if you could help us understand, what does this mean for your business? How does it impact your business?
Yeah, okay. Gold prices certainly going up is good for everybody, because people have a lot of gold with them. They become much more wealthier when the gold price goes up. But then, as you said, when the gold price is very high, new purchasers tend to defer their purchases. So a reasonable price increase is what is required. In the last 6 to 8 months, the price has gone up by about 30%. That's actually too high a price to go up. And now, as you say, it has been corrected by about 8%. But seeing the international tensions, etc., I don't think the price will will come down more or much more in the coming weeks or coming months. But then the impact of that on Muthoot. So although the price is going up, people tend to take a loan and take a loan only for the amount they actually need. It is not that when the price is going up, when they can get more money, they take the maximum amount. Today, if you look at today's gold price, our average loan to value is only 62%. Actually, we can go up to 75%. It only means that people have not borrowed the whole amount which is available to them. They borrow only what they want and what they feel they can repay. If they want to borrow much more than 75, or they want to take more than 75, they can easily go and sell the gold and get 98 or 100% of that. But they are taking loan maybe 60%, 70%, 75% because they feel they want to repay the loan maybe in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, or 4 months and take back their gold. So the gold price going up, people can borrow more if they want, but they will borrow only what they want. The demand which we see now is because there is a lot of pent up requirement for funding in the lower strata, maybe the big cities, outside the big cities also, because people are not getting unsecured lending as easily as before. So unsecured lending, all the banks have increased their risk weights, so they are going slow on that. The microfinance sector is almost definitely slow. The other online loans, etc., are also almost stopped. So people need money, and they are using gold as a means to get the money. And as you say, every day gold is in the news. At least 2 articles are there in every newspaper about gold price going up, etc., etc. So people are aware of the gold price, and they feel that the gold which they have is quite valuable, and they are using it for getting a loan. Just like NBFCs, all the banks are also doing, and everybody is AUM is increasing only.
That is the next point that I was going to come to. Apart from the articles that you see on gold, you also see a lot of ads that a lot of them are also venturing into the gold loan segment. You did briefly touch upon the competition, but if you can help us understand, how are you actually countering it? Because you have so many of them actually entering into it, and which means that it's more pressure on you.
Yeah, I don't think it's a pressure. I think it's a more pressure on the regulator, because too many people coming into a sector, regulator also is concerned. I think that is one of the reasons why they have come up with a new set of, it is a revised, consolidated guidelines, which is more of a Bible to the new entrants, so that they need to follow these processes. Because gold loan is not an easy business. It is very much process oriented, and it is operationally intensive. Some people who are trying to get into the new, whether it is a bank or even the NBFCs, they are entering into this. They have to understand this and then go forward. So that is, I think, one of the reasons why RBI is also concerned. They have given all these regulations and maybe the process concerns, and what to do, what not to do is what is there in the new regulation. So more people coming, it's not a competition for us. It is just that the market is also increased. If you look, I said earlier, all the banks have increased their portfolio. Some have grown by 30%, 40%, 50%. We have also grown. So it only shows that the market is broadening and there is space for everybody. But then new players should see that they follow the processes properly. Otherwise, they'll get in trouble with the regulator.
Talking about the regulator, sir, we understand that a lot of NBFCs had given in suggestions to the regulator in terms of the lending draft guidelines that we are expecting. Any update on the same? By when can we expect something final on this? If you have any visibility on this, and also while we have you, also just want to quickly ask upon the IPO plans of Belstar Finance, if that's coming along, and if you could share some timelines and update on that front.
About the draft guidelines, they have given a draft guidelines. The last date for submission of the instructions was I think 13th or 14th. Everybody has given their suggestions. I'm sure as an association of gold loan companies have also given their suggestions, etc. And I'm sure they will be calling us for a meeting, etc. Because a similar thing happened in 2013 when all new entrants started coming into gold loan. They put some restrictions, etc. After that, Reserve Bank formed a committee, the KUB committee, to go into this, and that committee actually fixed the LTV at 75%. So probably something like that should be also done so that everybody gets a time to tell their concerns about this. So that is what we have also given our recommendations to this, and I'm hoping that the Reserve Bank will call everybody or maybe at least the important ones for a discussion before the final guidelines are given. And about Belstar, your question is about Belstar. Belstar is one of our subsidiaries. We hold about 62% in that company, and that has also is on the consolidation mode. Last year, just before maybe 6 months back, they had a portfolio of about 10,000 crores. Now, in the last 6 months, they're consolidating it, and it is less than 8,000 crores now. Of course, there is a stress in the microfinance sector with even Karnataka and Tamil Nadu government passing legislation about money lending, etc. But fortunately, the regulated NBFCs, the regulated banks are exempt from this. But unfortunately, the ground level, people think that they are also not accepted, and that is why there is some stress regarding repayments. I'm sure in the next 1 or 2 quarters, things should settle, and the microfinance sector also should see consolidation and probably be on a good path maybe after 2 quarters. So let us wait out the next 2 quarters for a consolidation fix.
Be anticipating and waiting for that patiently. Thank you so much, Mr. Muthoot, for joining us this morning to talk about the earnings for the quarter gone by for Muthoot Finance and also what you're expecting in the way forward. But let's move on and let's put the spotlight on the world of commodities. We have Kunal Shah, who's the head of commodities